Welcome to CBSE English Tutorial, a visual guide.
Okay, exam season is officially here, and I know the Rattrap is one of those chapters that can feel, well, a little bit like a trap itself. But hey, don't you worry. In the next few minutes, we are going to crack this thing wide open. We're focusing only on the key ideas you need to absolutely nail those high-stakes questions and walk out of that exam feeling great. Are you kind of stressing about which themes you should be prioritizing? Or maybe how to build that perfect long answer that really gets the marks? You are in exactly the right place. We are about to dive into the most important, most frequently asked questions from the story, and I'm going to give you a super clear framework to answer them with total confidence. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to break down the story's central metaphor. This is the key to everything. Then we'll look at how the different characters play into it. From there, we'll get into the huge themes of transformation and loneliness. And finally, the best part, I'm going to give you a simple toolkit for writing the perfect exam answer. Let's do this. First up, the big one. Seriously, if you can get your head around this single concept, you are already halfway to an amazing grade. The entire story is built on this foundation, and trust me, examiners absolutely love to see if you've understood it. So what is this rat trap metaphor? Well, it's the peddler's kind of dark philosophy on life. He believes the whole world is just one giant rat trap. You know, a real rat trap uses a piece of cheese or pork as bait, right? The peddler thinks the world does the same thing, but its baits are all the things we want: riches, joy, food, a place to stay. And once you let yourself get tempted by that bait, snap, the trap closes and you're caught. And here's the ultimate irony, right? The guy who came up with this whole theory gets caught in his own trap. It happens in 3 really clear steps. First, he sees the bait, those 30 kroner notes the crofter has. Then, he takes the bait. He steals the money, betraying the one person who was kind to him. And finally, the trap closes. He gets completely lost in the forest, and that's when it hits him. The money was the bait, and now he's the rat who's been caught. This is a perfect example to use in your answers. Okay, so now let's see how this whole metaphor thing plays out with the story's main characters. The contrast between the Iron Master and his daughter, Edla, is a huge point of analysis. And I'm telling you, it is a favorite for long answer exam questions, so pay close attention to this one. So these two, they represent completely different ways of looking at the world. On one hand, you have the Iron Master. He's impulsive, he makes snap judgments, he completely misidentifies the peddler, and the moment he realizes his mistake, his first thought is to punish him, call the sheriff. But then you have Edla. She is the total opposite. She's observant, she's thoughtful, she's empathetic, and even when she learns the truth, she chooses compassion over judgment. This huge difference in how they react is what really sets the stage for the climax of the story. And that brings us to what is probably the story's most powerful theme, transformation. See, this isn't just a sad story about a guy getting trapped. It's about him finding a way out. And that escape route is unlocked by one simple act of genuine kindness. This quote right here from the peddler's letter is everything. It is the ultimate proof that he has changed. Edla didn't treat him like a tramp. She treated him with the dignity of a captain. By elevating him, by showing him respect, she gave him the power to want to be a better person, to escape the trap. He even signs the letter as Captain von Stahler, showing everyone he has fully stepped into this new honorable identity. It's so powerful. You're going to want to remember this phrase, latent spark of human goodness. The story is basically arguing that this spark of goodness exists inside every single one of us, no matter how lost we might seem. And it's not judgment or punishment that brings it out. It's selfless compassion, understanding, and kindness. Edla's act of kindness was the key that unlocked the peddler's goodness and gave him a chance at redemption. Okay, let's dig into another major theme, another one that examiners really like to ask about. And that's the deep loneliness that seems to be driving almost every character in this story. It's not just about the peddler, it's about a basic human need we all have for connection. I mean, just think about it for a second. Every major character is lonely. The peddler, obviously, he's wandering alone, totally cynical about the world. But then there's the old crofter, who's so desperate for someone to talk to that he just spills all his secrets to a total stranger. And even the rich ironmaster and Edla, living in their huge house, are clearly isolated. That's why they're so insistent on having a guest for Christmas. The story shows us that our need to connect with other people is this powerful force that really shapes our choices. All right, let's put it all together. We've gone over the key ideas, the characters, the big themes. Now for the really practical part. How do you take all this and structure a brilliant answer that's going to wow any examiner? So to make your answer really pop, you've got to use the right language. Think of these keywords as your secret weapons. When you drop words like metaphor, temptation, compassion, and redemption, you're sending a clear signal to the examiner that you don't just see the surface plot, you get the story's deeper meaning. Here is a simple, winning structure. Ready? Start your answer by explaining the rat trap metaphor. Then, use the characters, the crofter, the ironmaster, and of course, Edla, as your evidence to discuss the themes. Show how the peddler first gives in to temptation, but is ultimately saved by an act of compassion. And then, for your conclusion, you hit them with his transformation, using that amazing letter he leaves for Edla as your final, powerful piece of proof. So, I'll leave you with a final thought. This story might be over 100 years old, but this metaphor, it feels more relevant today than ever, doesn't it? What are the baits the modern world sets for us? Likes on social media? The next must-have gadget, the constant pressure to be successful? And what does real compassion even look like in a world that's basically designed to trap our attention? Just something to think about. That's all for today. Now go ace that exam.
Thank you for watching. See you again in a bit.